Pick up yourself, graduates. I see you. I see you. Walk on, walk on. What's a going? Big up yourself, producer Wade. Nice to see you, bro. Let me show my face a little bit. Let me show my face a little bit to my graduates. What's up? What's up? If you are new to my channel, welcome to A Touch of Class with HTK. We have a few topics to discuss tonight. Yes, we have a few topics to discuss. Let me hail up everybody in the building. Debbie Jervis TV, big up yourself. Rich Venice, big up yourself. Joan Foster, what's up? I see you. Rowena, what's up? I see you. Let me go up the line. Dawn Marencha, big up yourself, sis. Vanessa Grant, Wagwan member. Sanika, good evening. Andreen Ferguson, good evening. How is everybody doing on this lovely Friday? Hope you've had a very productive week. Like I have. I have been very, very busy. Busy cannot do. I'm gonna tell you, say work beat me bad. But you don't know, say we have to secure the bag before we can deal with social media. I do a bit of, occasional videos, but I have not been coming live as often as a result of that. Jeanette Johnson, big up yourself. I see you. Yes. Um, let's see who else is here. Yeah, man. Make sure to like up the live as soon as you come in and do share it. We have some interesting discussions that we're going to have tonight. But you see, before I start the discussions, listen, there is a video that I saw that really gets under my skin. I'm going to share the video with you and I'm going to give my perspective on it because you see some men out there really have the nerve to come out and want to make it look as though being a single woman is usually as a result of the feminine persona, especially one with a track record such as this. Now, listen, let me tell you something. Every marriage goes through their difficulty and their trial and their tribulation, right? And unfortunately, if you are a public figure, such things will indeed end up blown out of proportion all over social media. I mean, at the end of the day, Chrissy is not the first woman to get born. You understand? But because of the very public nature of their lifestyle, everything went all over social media. We know what took place. But I saw a video today that really irked me. So let me play this video before I get started. All right? Let me play this video before we get started because listen to me, CMR. With all due respect, I want to tell you two something. But one on there. Let me play the video first. I want to hear for myself why it is that this video got me very annoyed. Anyway, I want to watch this. For those of you who have not seen the video, here it is. Let me pull it up. So basically, CMR saw this comment under one of his videos. And his response to it was, Chrissy is not the same, I fear. She filed for that divorce so that he can cheat in peace. So he was basically talking about Cardi B, the fact that Cardi B is a single mother, blah, 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 all of that jazz, and she no longer has the man in her life. And of course, this person was like, listen, Cardi B, she left the man because the man is a dirty man. The man is a cheater. And that is why she left the man, so that him can go live him life because him clearly not ready to settle down. So anyway, suppose because she basically drew comparison to Chrissy to say that Chrissy is not the same. And in other words, she believes that Chrissy should have left this man. This was his response. Tell me what you think about these graduates. Just a little light start before we go down in the heavier things.
Now, why you gotta make a post like that? I really hope that the kids that you're raising, you're not doing it as a single parent, because a nuclear family is always best. And Cardi values that. So does I. You're gonna make a post. Chrissy's not like Cardi. So what? You're saying break up the family. See, single women always try to make other women remain single. And there's something you're lacking and jealous of. And that is why you like to see family break up. Maybe that's why yours never lasts.
Mega pull it up again and then mega say what mega say. Uno listen to what this man says.
Now, why you gotta make a post like that? I really hope that the kids that you're raising, you're not doing it as a single parent, because a nuclear family is always best. And Cardi values that.
No disagreement there. A nuclear family is always best. It takes a fully committed and functional family in order to raise balanced children. We're talking about a father that is committed, a mother that is committed to raise the children in a balanced way. It is 10 times harder, though not impossible, if you choose to do that by yourself.
You're gonna make a post. Chrissy's not like Cardi. So what? You're saying break up the family. See, single women always try to make other women remain single.
Part. Single women always try to make other women remain single. Excuse me? What do you mean by that? Now, it's almost as though he's basically calling every single female a homewrecker, every single female a hater towards a woman who has a man. And that is not true, Samar, because at the end of the day, an empowered woman can also choose to step away from an abusive relationship and a serial cheater, which we know that you were. I'm not saying that you have not changed and you have not, turned over a new leaf, but you certainly were a serial cheater. And in that respect, there is nothing wrong with a woman taking a stance to say that she's no longer interested in being in a relationship like the one that you have. Even if Chrissy decided she go sit down in it, a woman deciding to walk away from it does not make her less of an empowered female.
There's something you're lacking and jealous of. And that is why you like to see family breakup. Maybe that's why yours never lasts.
Now listen to that. Listen to that sneaky bit of reverse psychology. Basically throwing his own shame back onto the lady to say that the reason why you're not no man is because you don't value family. But yet he is the one who did not value family and had to step out of his relationship and go with a younger girl. Anyway, but just to show you some of the mentality of some of these men out here in social media who refuse to take accountability of their bullshit whenever it comes out in the public atmosphere. They pretend as though, now that I have turned over a new leaf, I am always this perfect man. At the end of the day, there are still going to be people in the court of public opinion who would never have remained with a man like this. And he has to respect that. The mere fact that he's getting defensive, some many things that CMR change. But anyway, I know my marriage, I know my circus, and I definitely not my monkeys. But me just did want to share that we don't know. And ask, what do you think about that perspective from this man? Anyway, we're going to talk about a variety of things. As I said, that was a light start. Because when I said that really gets under my skin. I said to myself, Lord Jesus, here we go. Anyway, we're going to go into some serious situations that are happening across the world. But I'm going to start first with the topic of discrimination in our schools. Okay, I'm going to start with that one and gradually build up to the worst scenario. But basically, I am shocked, I am surprised that currently in Jamaica, we are still having to battle with certain colonial ideals that we don't seem to want to shake. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the parents whose child was removed from school because she had dreadlocks in 2020. Do we remember that story? And just to remind you, let me pull up the article to see if you remember. The whole thing went to the Jamaica High Court about the school that claimed that the school was legally right to actually take the child out of school for basically not following the rules. So here we have the article. Thumbs up if you can all see it. Okay. So Jamaica's High Court had ruled a school was legally right in banning a child with dreadlocks. And this was in August of 2020. So, 4 years ago, exactly, and a bit, right? Um, so this is the family in question, and this is the beautiful little girl, right? Now, according to the courts, a school that said a student couldn't attend classes if she didn't cut her dreadlocks did not infringe on the child's constitutional rights. And that was ruled. The mother had refused to cut off the locks of the child's head. An injunction was issued that allowed the girl to attend school with dreadlocks until the ruling came out. So it was a reluctant, you can come to school until a decision was made. The school had an unwritten policy of no braids, no beads, no locking of hair. So essentially all of the African stylistics of how we protective style our hair was banned. It was perfectly fine to come to school with your hair cream, your hair straightened, and if your hair is natural, I suppose cornrows were not a problem, providing you did not put in any extensions, okay? The objective of creating a more controlled, hygienic environment is important to the proper order and effective learning at the school. I want you to listen to what the wording of this. Basically, they were saying that by wearing her hair in dreadlocks, there was a higher possibility, and the words of the school, this is not in this article, but it was in another video that I watched, which I can't even play because it's full of music. The hair of the dreadlocks was a high probability of jonjo and lice being transmitted from child to child as a result of the little girl wearing dreadlocks. This was in 2020. This ignorance, right? This was in 2020. But it hasn't stopped there. It's still happening. We are still having these ridiculous discussions, these discriminatory discussions about Black children and their hairstyles. Now, the beautiful thing about this was that after doing a petition to reverse the High Court ruling banning dreadlocks, to which she received 76,535 signatures, they went back to court, and the actual court rules were overturned. It says now that the school breached constitutional rights of the dreadlock students. Okay? And all of a sudden it's pinned to PNP. I mean, I know what PNP have to do with this. But basically, it's saying that there was a breach of the constitutional rights of the Rastafarian students, that the school, which is Kensington Primary School in St. Catherine, which denied the access in 2018 after the family refused to trim the dreadlocks, had basically gone against the human rights of the child. They're basically saying that the family were Rastafari and that it was against their beliefs, and the school had no right to tell them that they could not have locks in the school based on their own identity, their faith. Now, while it is a ruling in the defense of Rastafarian belief, I contacted the school. When I asked, I just pretended as though I was a parent and I wanted a transfer. And I said to them that my child has dreadlocks. Is it okay for my child to come to the school with dreadlocks? And they told me, and first they asked, are you Rastafarian? And I was like, no, it's just style. It's just hairstyle. Graduates of school tell me no. That if it's just hairstyle and it is not the faith of my family, it is not allowed. Only hear what I said, oh no. So it's still not allowed unless you are Rastafarian. So even though it is a ruling in defense of the faith, you have your right to your beliefs spiritually, etc. and therefore it should not be breached. It's your human right, yes, to demonstrate your faith accordingly. Just like how I can, if I'm Muslim, they can't tell me that I can't wear a hijab, right? Basically, if I just wanted to style my hair with dreadlocks, it would not be facilitated. Good afternoon, Olivine. Yes, did you see that famous black dress? Jeanette, please do not come in here and distract class. I don't watch people foolishness. Okay? I'm not interested in any of that. So it shows that there are still some limitations. It's still some limitations on the rights of the child as a black child to be able to go into school with a black hairstyle. And now all the school has done is adapted its policy to include faith. It does not give a blanket rule for all black children that if they choose to wear their hair in dreadlocks, provided their hair is neat, be it that them say that they have to wear their hair back or whatever, it doesn't give that liberty. Jamaica has a very far way to go in terms of discrimination against children with their hair, but don't think it's just Jamaica alone, because I want you to be aware of this, because there's far more to it, and it's happening right here in the UK, right here in the UK. And I don't think people are aware. I don't think people are aware of their rights when it comes to this kind of thing. So let me show you this. Is there anything wrong with this hairstyle? You tell me. And do you think this hairstyle will be facilitated in Jamaica? I'd really like to hear your opinions on that. Do you think this hairstyle is fine for school? And do you think this hairstyle could be worn in Jamaica? Let me take a look at some of the comments here. Wow, in this modern days, oh, you better believe it. Producer Wayne says, so no respect for freedom of expression. Exactly, Wayne. So even though they've basically adapted their policy to say, okay, it's perfectly fine for you to come there with your dreadlocks if you are Rastafarian, you cannot come there with it as just a hairstyle at all. It's still not facilitated, right? Oh, that's okay, Joan. Don't worry about it. So take a look at this little boy's hair. Mom slams school's racist policy after student banned for braids. Now take a look at this hairstyle. Now, first of all, we know that if that hairstyle came to a Jamaican school, they would have turned you right back. Reason being that the fanciness in it, you know, the artistry would be considered to be a distraction. That would have been too much. They would have said you have to braid it all the way back. Especially if you are a boy, you can't come to school with it like that. It have to be braided straight back. But if it's a little girl, people would tend to turn a blind eye to it, particularly in primary, and just say, oh, well, the hair just comb neat. It's not a problem. Little girls tend to have more exorbitant hairstyles. Boys, on the other hand, they can't go so far. They would say, no, that is too much for a little boy. Yes, they would. That's the kind of discrimination. Now, this was what this school said.
This student's hair got her banned from her school playground and canteen. The issue? This heart in her braids. Her mum says the school's policy is racist. The school says braids are allowed and there are clear procedures if parents have any issues.
So basically, if it's commentary, it tells you how the braids have to be worn.
And canteen.
I'll stop
the
it.
Issue? This heart in her braids. Her mum says.
Okay, so it says here, my child is banned from the school playground's canteen for her hair. It is neatly braided in a natural color. I gave them a lesson on the history of Black women's hair's cultural significance of braiding. They chose violence. So this is the school. Bishop Callana has a racist hair policy. Now listen, this is not a banning her from the classroom, because the frigga them know so them couldn't do that. Them could have never banned the child from the classroom, because this is not a purpose. This is not a reason for exclusion. Yes. But what they've done is they've banned her from the playground and the canteen. So this child was made to eat in the class. She can't play with her friends. Yes, she can't socialize. What they were saying was that when the child went on the playground, the hairstyle became a center of topic. You know, everybody wanted to see, touch it, talk about how great it was and whatever. It was also causing jealousy amongst the non-Black female children whose hair was not done like that. And they were then coming to the teachers and complaining and saying, so hold on, how is it that she's allowed to come with fancy things in her hair and we can't even put in a pink extension? How is it that she can come with hearts in her hair and we can't wear, pretty colors and whatever? That's decorative. So because the other children were complaining to the teachers about this child's hair, they turned around and said that this child cannot go and socialize because she's causing jealousy and distraction on the playground. They turned around and claimed that it was for her own safety. You hear what me I said to you? And this is in the UK. So don't think for a second that this is just a Jamaica problem. But what I'm going to say is this. We expect this kind of nonsense in first world countries, of which Black people are not the original ethnics that are in control. You hear me? We expect this because essentially their entire institution is based on racism and divide and rule. So we expect this in a white country, this fight. And even though we expect this, the difference is that even here in the UK, we have moved strides to address this kind of mess. And I'm going to show you the legal steps that have taken place to protect our children from this kind of discrimination in schools. Something that I strongly suggest the Jamaican government pays attention to and gets, or rather encourages, schools and let's cross over to business institutions adapting this as a part of their rules. So let me show you what the UK has done to counteract this kind of craziness. I want to know if you have ever heard about the Halo Code. Let me show you. There it is. I'm going to try and blow it up because I know you guys always complain, but HDK, we can't see that. Right? I know you always complain that you cannot see. Hopefully you can see it now. Can you all see that? Give me a thumbs up when you can see. But hairstyle is not taking education. What that have to do with anything? Nonsense. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I am telling you. It's got nothing to do with education. You understand? But this is just another way that classism and racism seeps through into institutions and basically alienates and marginalizes our dark-skinned brothers and sisters and their children. It's ingrained from in the schoolyard. If you think about it, classism is actually taught in schools. I want you to understand that. The entire institution is based on segregation. The fact that you are in classes based on your ability shows that they're already separating the bright from the not so bright and the don'ts, what they categorize as don'ts. You understand? So we are taught in schools that we are supposed to be divided and that those who are considered to be at the higher end of the scale of academic achievement are usually given the most privilege, right? There is a lack of equality even in how children are taught within our Caribbean schools. And I am going to share with you a story from a mother in Guyana about the discrimination that she faces. That's based on the system that we have now adapted, claiming that our education is completely free now, but yet and that's in primary. But yet in primary, we have to do what you call monetary contributions towards the upkeep of the school. So you tell me what has replaced what? Anyway, the Halo Code. Liberty Academy Trust is committed to working towards creating a world without hair discrimination and believe that no one should have to change their natural hairstyle in order to thrive. Race-based hair discrimination is illegal in the UK. Illegal. And hair is a protected characteristic under the law. However, 58% of Black students experience name-calling or uncomfortable questions about their hair at school. 1 in 4 Black adults report that they had a negative experience when at school in relation to their hair texture. 46% of parents say that the school policies penalize Afro hair. I'm going to give you a story before we break down this policy, right? I used to work at a Catholic school. That was in my class teacher days. I used to work at a Catholic school. And in the Catholic school, it was majority white. I was a year 6 teacher. So that's the exam year, the final year of primary over here. And at that school, the children, as I said, were majority white. And in my classroom, I had 3 Black children, one of whom was mixed race. Mixed race as in half Black, half white. She had a massive afro, as a lot of mixed race children do. They tend to have a heap of hair. And she used to wear her hair out, right? She used to just put one little band around it and wear the hair out. When she sat down in the class, she was towards the middle. She wasn't at the front. She was towards the middle. She was a middle ability child. Once again, classism in the classroom. So she was sat in the middle row. But I had my lowers at the front, right? And my highers at the very back. So they needed less intervention. So this girl used to sit there and I had a TA who was an English lady. So TA as in teaching assistant. So the teaching assistant used to, every time she saw this child, shout at her and tell her to go to the toilets and pin her hair back. Now, at first, I was taken aback. I had never seen this kind of subtle racism before. I was new at the school, didn't want to ruffle any feathers, was trying to get on with my colleagues, create a good impression in the classroom, so on and so forth. And when I saw it happen, not once, but twice, the third time, I called the TA out of the classroom. And I said, listen, I'm going to have a word with you at lunchtime. We went back in the class, finished the class, and so on. She hung back at lunchtime. And I said to her, why do you keep insisting on telling this child to go and pin her hair back? And why do you do it in such a manner? She says, every time this girl comes with her hair, it's so big and distracting. And it's just in the way of everybody, and people behind her cannot see. And I've spoken to the mother, and the mother refuses to change the hairstyle. So I said, okay. Obviously, there's a real practical issue here because, yes, her hair was big and whoever was behind her would struggle to see. Facts. But the way in which she did it was so discriminatory and embarrassing because the way she shouted at the child was shouted at in front of all of her peers. And it was really to humiliate her for what God had given her growing from her scalp, which I told her. I said, you are humiliating a child whose hair is natural. She hasn't put in extensions to make it that big. God has given that to her. And you are treating her less than human by shaming her about what God gave her. She's also a child under the guidance of her mother. And her mother has said there's absolutely nothing wrong with her child's hair like this. But yet you have a problem with how her mother grooms her hair. Who should be the person that you speak to, the child or the mother, to explain gently that because of the size of the Afro children behind her cannot see, and it would force you to have to move her to the very back where she will struggle to focus. So I stopped her in her tracks and told her, don't say another word to that child about her hair, because if she does, I'll remove her from my classroom. I then spoke to the parents myself, and I explained, I was a white mother, and I explained to her that, listen, your daughter's hair is beautiful. It is her crown. However, if it would be really helpful if you could cornrow this into two or put it into two buns, just so that it can be less voluminous, because it's difficult for people behind her to see. She understood that it was not a problem. And coming from a Black female, it didn't feel like she was being disrespected. And she explained that to me, that actually the other TA came and said it to me and I ignored her because she was being a right cow. Do you understand? So there are different levels to it. I'm telling you that children, they get bullied not necessarily by their peers, but also by members of staff, just by who they are. But anyway, the Halo Code basically is an agreement that institutions and schools are invited to sign up to. While it is illegal to discriminate, schools go around this by not actually removing them from class, which is a statutory requirement, but by removing them from certain school privileges, which are not a statutory requirement. Therefore, the parents cannot complain and say that they are doing something illegal. If the school does not sign up to the Halo Code agreement, which basically is a public declaration to say that we will not discriminate on the basis of hairstyles and ethnicity, they can get away with these subtle exclusions like what they did to that little boy without legal punishments. Even when they sign up to the Halo Code agreement, they can still do this, but then it will go against their ethics as an institution, and they can be challenged in the court of public opinion, and it would just be a big shame and disgrace. But nothing legally will come out of it, although it is a step in the right direction. So this is what is in place to say that every child has a right to represent their identity, a freedom of expression of who they are, without discrimination against their skin, their hair, or their ethnic dress outside of the uniform that they are supposed to ascribe to wearing. So if they had a World Culture Day, for example, and a child came to school dressed in a dashiki, they cannot face any discrimination, or dressed in, a sari, in the case of an Asian child, they cannot face any discrimination as a result of that. Okay? So this is what the UK has done as a step forward to prevent this discrimination from taking place. But I am telling you, it's still voluntary for organizations and institutions to sign up to it, to ascribe to it. So even though it's illegal to discriminate in this way, they are sly with it. They will make sure that you're in class and so on and so forth. All the statutory requirements of being in education. They'll deny you breaks outside. They'll stop your playtime, like what they did with that little boy. They'll stop you from going on trips, certain trips, not all. They have a percentage that you have to attend for your whole curriculum purposes. Yes, those are the kind of things that they will do, that we over here in the UK have to be aware of as parents, because it goes over a lot of ethnic minority parents' heads, that they are that devious with their institutional racism. Now, Jamaica doesn't have something like this because they don't feel they need to necessarily protect our youth from what is supposed to be something that is culturally innate and accepted. But I have found that Jamaica is, in fact, one of the most discriminatory and racist and classist places when it comes to Black identity, particularly amongst our youth. And then they wonder why it is that young people are going out there and bleaching their skin and turning up at school a summer later, several tones lighter than they entered, because they have already started to plant it in their heads that Black identity and expression is something to be shunned, something to think about. So let me take a look at some of the comments here. right? See, somebody said, Rowena said that hairstyle is suitable for school. Absolutely, right? I saw absolutely nothing wrong with the little girl's hair, especially as it's a girl. You know, having a heart in the cane row is creative, but it's still her own hair. It's not like she had put in any kind of jewels or anything like that. It was still very plain and neatly done. But that, as I said, it is a worldwide problem, this discrimination. It's not just happening in Jamaica. So I do not know if you are aware of this video that has been doing the rounds in Jamaica. And this is to do with how our government is dealing with our disabled children. So let me just pull this up.
Playing from Rear Master Comms.
Okay, and let me just share the screen. Right? Thumbs up if you could see that. So this video was done. A lady tried to tag the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
And you want everybody to talk Angela, right? First of all, me try me that for 4 schools now, right? And he said, yesterday, the other school got Marvel Premier of Infant decide thing. Them now go, the principal decide to him now go write a good character reference to my daughter, so she can go to the school. Me actually try to get her in a the chief of the school after the teacher. Not my daughter. School already start. Me try for the next one now. And I'm not asking. You know why when I'm full up already. Okay, school and full up. And Angela's, if you look over here, it's my daughter. She's very talented. And she deserves talent. She didn't get I want to school and ministry said after all the teachers slapped my daughter, you know. The teachers slapped my daughter and ministry, I look at us make a cut school. And when I school and pull up. And she don't want to see me. I call medical and up and do. I'm a single mother at school. And she never did not feel one. Like,
Big up yourself, Carrie.
I made it all I was supposed to pick up, you know, because I mean one. We're not part of it. And then if we don't keep up, I mean, they'll pay the package. We give it like 4 packages. Since this before it was set ourselves 4 packages for pay for. And if we do 4 medical, that ain't even good something. And the one I didn't buy tell me dear something. That chamber, every time I die, every time I want, Andrew Owens, we tell Andrew Owens that the minister of the people in a parliament and in the land. That is not right. What is for? No one out. Making out the skills of it. If you would make it in schools,
I fix it, Rowena.
We start out the school and the teachers slap her. No other reason. How much I should be a glass school and I'll be a problem. I'm gonna be the epic defender. The epic defender about mom, like I want parent they come and they compound and slap her and after me did have to defend and me never even disrespect nobody, nothing. And I work for something. I enjoy it if you want to know my part of the school, please may I ask you. Just look from the post, don't school.
Wow. So corporal punishment is still a thing? You're trying to tell me that corporal punishment is still a thing in Jamaican schools? You still have teachers that feel they have the audacity to put their hand on the child? These are the kind of things that I am so concerned about in the Jamaican education system. The fact that teacher a slap picnic. The fact that a head teacher or principal can write a negative reference about a child. Negative references should never be allowed. It must be banned. In fact, it should be about the case of listening to the child, focusing on the positives of the child, identifying where the child might need support is different from writing a negative reference. Here we have a mother whose child has needs, right? Clearly, there are behavioral challenges as a result of it. Year 1 is what we're talking about here. This is not year 5, year 6. This is year 1. Year 1. Right? Baby. And she cannot get her child in school. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. How is it that we have a situation where, one, a parent has to be running left, right, and center to try and get their child into school? This is the kind of system that Jamaica lacks. You should be able to register your child for a school within your vicinity. There should be a mileage attached to that. You shouldn't have children traveling from way out to come to a school. That is the first thing. In that vicinity of government schools, you should have an option to go within 3-mile radius of your location. Yes? It should be about making sure that the government as the authority actually allocates a place where children have to transfer, be it that they're excluded or whatever. It should be a case of you go right back to a central administrative point in the government, the Ministry of Education, and apply for a place, and the government is supposed to place you. This is like the second or the third or so parents I've heard on social media that is walking around trying to get their child into school. It should not be like that. Ministry of Education, you're sitting on your backside and you're doing absolutely nothing. So when I hear people talking about favor this and favor that, and I hear stories like this, I wonder what the hell is going on. Because there's no way this parent should be the one beating our feet to try and find a school. There should be a central administrative point where you are aware of all of the spaces within the locality that are available. And tell her that, listen, mom, these are your options. She can go here, there, or this. So parents have to be fighting to get into school, and it's reliant on prejudicial references. So if it's not a case of a favorite parent or a favorite child, a principal can shake up your picnic and say, listen, me not like that picnic there, me not like that mama there. So make a write that picnic a terrible reference that's going to limit their life chances. Because certain schools with certain standards of behavior or certain standards of whatever, now go on and take your child. This is the kind of discrimination that Jamaicans are sitting quiet on, while poor people continue to suffer, because this is not a rich people problem, most of which send them picnic to the likes of like Stella Maris private school. You understand? So when I hear things like this, and I'm saying to myself, in this day and age, this is what Jamaica is doing. When I have picnic, I try mothers, I walk this. And what is this $5,000 medical nonsense that a mother has to do to get their child into school? Why is that an expense of the parents? You have taken away school fees, but parents are expected to give monetary contributions towards the upkeep of a school. So while it is that you don't have to pay a school fee anymore, on the other hand, you have to be putting money in the kitty towards certain things in the school. Hmm? And it's not just Jamaica this is happening. So I'm going to play for you a perspective that comes from a parent in Guyana. Please, if you want to have picking, move the picking. Yes, because I did my best to remove all of the bad one them, I try my best. Because when I tell you that this parent head cheap, this parent was so angry. But listen, grassroots perspective. I want you to move beyond the bad words because some people, that's how they express themselves. And I want you to listen to the meat of the matter, the issues that she's discussing, because this is very much to do with those schools, those primary schools who don't have to pay school fees anymore because the government says education is now free for primary age children. But we know that there is a sly exchange and yet another opportunity for discrimination taking place in our island that's not being addressed. I have heard more than one parent talk about this. They just haven't come public with it yet. Me still I try get one lady to tell me something from recording so I can share it. But anyway, in the meantime, between time, let me let you hear this lady. Thumbs up if you can see my video. Jamaica is going to the dogs in every form of ways. Let me not tell you, I am sick and tired of Jamaica government system. Yes, man, it is really, really bad. What this person said, how much you paying? 7,000. Almighty Father, look at that. 7,000 for what is the question? I tell you, boy, these are the things that we have to suffer. Right, so thumbs up if you can see my video. Yes, things will never change, Debbie says, because people sit down and accept these things like it is the norm. Talk truth. All right. So see this mom here, as I said, remove all your kids. This is not an opportunity for little ones to be around, right? And if you can't take bad word, please exit the live. Because this is an adult conversation, right? And the mother is rightfully so pissed off.
I cannot. Y'all is wicked. And then you have to come in the public and telling people, let people need to come out. And people know y'all overdoing the fuck. You mean they should pay y'all? We have that small money like some of y'all. Still, y'all are coming for parents who can't afford it. Eh? I make certain whatever this school get, I give. I cemetery and take part. Play a role. Eh? I don't have monetary gift to give. Why should I give you what I need? Eh? Why? So the parents who could give you more, you can justify to the other parents who can't give you more. That's fucking wrong. But you need to start switching some of your mother's cunt around. Because you get into frenzy with the fucking parents. And then when the parents then go to your school, y'all come putting with your Facebook and all over. But the people don't hear what first bell. What I'm seeing in the call first bell. Well, I had an example of it today. And I don't expect them to tell me I telling the fucking truth. They're going to tell me I telling the lie. The school get lesson, like how my son going grade 6, I'll be sending him to the fucking lesson the government get. That is not even the government. They must take them time and say them a teach you. Sometimes they come on in there. Right? I don't have monetary gift to give y'all. So when I come in for justice, my child, you know what that woman tell me? She didn't tell me. She didn't tell me. She was telling the other teachers in front of the child parent, oh, I don't give justice. And she didn't know I was standing outside. And right away up I said, HM, you're a liar and don't tell lie on me. I am going to say this to Ministry of Education. I ain't go far.
So HM is a headmistress for those of you who are culturally unaware. Yes. HM is a headmistress. So the headmistress is basically complaining that no money was given to justice to give to the school. Yeah. The child.
You hear? Yeah, all as women, as the government worker, y'all doing a lot of I sorry, Jagyo didn't bring a set of fucking teachers from India for all of y'all will come out the fucking school and they want to teach we children and telling we one set of scum and telling we about money and money. And you scum to and buy more care, mom put on more makeup and they can take that old fucking day teach them children couple subject and then tell them sit down. And
Pull up that. Now, listen. I have been noticing trend for some time, and I'm wondering when schools are going to put their foot down about teachers on TikTok. Listen, when I go to TikTok Jamaica Education, and I see some of our class teachers, some of them are just basically doing educational things, showing off the school, blah, blah, blah. But I see some teachers talking about what they wear Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and teacher cock up them bottom in a camera. I wear clothes to highlight the curves and I show off. We say, them look so fine. And I turn sideways and I show bumper in a camera. Yes, on TikTok. And I'm wondering what the hell is going on. It's not just in Jamaica. This is a Caribbean-wide nonsense.
parents y'all come for I'm really
Because
frightened,
it's
y'all
a
know.
black bee.
I stay y'all see me, y'all don't know me. Don't lie on me and don't put me out there, mother scunt. Now I gonna put y'all mother scunt out there. Yeah? Not everybody can afford to give y'all monetary gift. Cause I can't. I don't have gold. Only must me poke him, must go yeah, your scunt for go sell and pan and me we can pan. Eh? Hey, that woman today. If you hear she unprofessional donkey, shine for it, fucker. The next time, yeah, you have to call the police and the security for me because I gone handle your skull. Yeah, I don't care who want to teach you that on me platform for tell she. Tell she for me. Me never disrespect them. Never. I go into that school all the time. My children goes to that school. Right? Never have I disrespect none of them.
Debbie,
Don't
she
matter
got
what
that.
I'm by tree and up from my right when I was trying to make rings wrong. Yeah, and I just asked them, I say, man, it's what you want.
She angry. Trust me.
And mother come for complain. All right, Mr. Army and the mother gonna fix it out. And we gonna get it out. And let the children know where they're right and where they're wrong. I'm coming with your Jezebel looks. With a 4 right what thinner than thing. And then I tell you, the other day when I go carrying my daughter for enroll. Me not had the enrollment money because
I tell you straight to that. I don't want no guy and he's cost me, Them and Trinis, no thank you.
say that me forget my daughter. If she the enrollment money is very what you call it? Important. And the fucking government will get you everything. The government say enrollment fee, yeah, but just couldn't let me pick me come school. However, I go on a cash $3,000 up to now, me not get me pick me badge. You see how them say? Me not get the report book yet, me not get the badge yet. Right? Now, what I try for sure, y'all, is that some of these teachers deserve better and some of them deserve one more of school. Because you know why? Some of them very wicked.
Yes.
Wicked in some kind of way. Yeah? They're vindictive parents who can't give them monetary gifts. We can't do this.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We can't do so. Well, let me tell y'all, the government has paid me less and I just content with it. I wish you could give her nothing. Some
I had to bleep that. That was real hot what she said.
yeah, mighty and when parents come. Y'all be having lessons in school. Y'all be getting more money than some of the parents that willing to give y'all a lesson fee. And still y'all is becoming around people with scum. You know what she feel like the recording she, but I sorry I didn't record them. Because when they meet other places, they will tell people that I is the liar and the people in the other places would believe them.
Yes.
Time them say that to me. You know what them turn and they tell me when I had a school issue? They said that, no, they turned and said, who you feel them gonna believe, you or me? What kind of fuckery is though? I care about y'all. Y'all is too fucking wicked as teachers. As the HM for the school, you're supposed to set right is right, wrong is wrong. You're always coming after me and then get the guts to tell me that I got uphold my child. There's no way I ever go to that school and I ever go and ever give these people justice. But like they want to kill my child in front of them. You know what I mean? That how you gonna swear for a child? You skunting that you know just like up in your fucking office. You could have somebody probably first of all, y'all tell the school is not a daycare. And watch it. So we know the school is not a daycare, but remember, y'all getting paid from night. Just like how the school is not the daycare. Just so the government should tell y'all start get paid from whenever y'all come to and what time y'all come to work. Look, Mr. Jack, make case, I don't care what them say. Make case and bring a set of Indian teacher. When them do more striking, you get them in line for them scone. Because some of them need to go some places them need to stay. I fed up with them. Every time they come to, they don't teach your children. They're teaching your children to say, okay, you're going to become the next lawyer, you're going to become the next doctor. But you can't be vindicting a poor man.
Yes.
And giving a rich man it. And so I have to ask them today. I say, so in other words, the child grandmother, right? What the fucking teacher gonna tell me the daddy HM. But she lucky I didn't want to answer she read scone because I tired of she too. She going to tell me that parent, I don't like the remarks you're using. I said, Mom, I'm not using a remarks, it's not truth. I said the child grandmother said, y'all send me, which y'all knows nothing about it on the Thursday app. Y'all all send me to them because they no longer give y'all monetary gifts. Their trophy. And what is the recipe? Monetary. It's the word cool. Yes, right? Because my child and all of us was right there the very day. So when she started operating like that, I turned to her and I said, so then in other words, I'm not getting nowhere. It means that I have to get monetary gifts to give you. Like done with them right there. So, you know, imagine a HM. Imagine all I doing is listening to Shy on my phone, but what should I do? Indeed is record them. So let the public hear how these teachers be talking to you, some of them, and expect you as a parent to sit back, relax, and encourage them to talk to you like you're talking to your mom. Disrespect a teacher. All my life, I have never. And I tell my children, don't disrespect, but you're very disrespectful when it comes to certain people. You're disrespectful. Bad. And because of what? A parent can give you more and a parent. Watch them. You see some days when I get school activities, they don't know be the best this and the best. But this time, sometimes I'll be the baddest fucking child in the school. And because the parents giving them more than what the ministry, I don't care. I could come to me later. I tell you like it is. Because these are not things out my mouth because I want to say things that I see. Yeah? When my child, my son, I could remember this. When my son was graduating, my big son was graduating that very school. They didn't have nothing in the school, yeah? I don't give them the money to go and play a part. My children have got to school only than me reaching to work. And I see some children get some trophy.
Yes.
For best attendance.
This is real.
Only to school. I said, Jehovah, bless them. And watch them good. That is to tell you, when they get attached to certain parent, you, the poor man, them is seeing you no more.
Facts. Now you tell me if you think that this is not happening in Jamaican schools. You think it is? You think that because she's speaking with an accent, that this is, a different country, that it's not happening in our schools? It happened right there. I know for a fact about this thing with prize giving. I have witnessed that for myself. Yes. I remember I come from a family of teachers. Yes. So I used to have privileges of going into staff room, hearing certain discussions, and they would deliberately give children prizes because their parents is Miss So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so. We continue to have these little background mentalities in our schools, right? And poorer children who are making the effort, but because they're not giving those parental contributions, are made to suffer. Don't think for a minute that it's not happening. And it's interesting because parents are so caught up in literally just trying to survive and trying to live that they don't realize that their children are going through it. And then no, when their children start to act out and behave out of character and do all sort of something, and as they get older and puberty kicks in and they try to do anything to get that money, so that they won't be discriminated against, so that they will look like a child that have money, then you wonder what the hell is going on, because you're not paying attention to these subtle things that happen in school that are blatant forms of discrimination that takes place on a day-to-day basis. This mother is clearly, I know our mouth terrible. I mean, I lie. But she's clearly very passionate about her kids. She's clearly very protective about her kids. She is very involved with her child's education. Yes. And that is a parent that you try to work with, because it's not one that don't care. If she fall on hard times, look, she still has to be giving parental contributions just so that her child can get recognized. This is the kind of thing that we are not talking about. We don't talk about those things. No, we're busy talking about all sorts of other things because there is something wrong with a lot of us as people. Our mentality is warped. Sometimes I sit back, graduates, and look at the mindset of Jamaicans on social media and wonder to myself, what the hell is going on? And let me tell you this. At some point, we can all do the tit for tat, the gossiping, the nonsense, but after a while, it gets old. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it does. After a while, it gets old. And when I tell you I don't want to hear nonsense on my platform anymore, I am dead serious. So if you come on my platform with nonsense, you're either going to get a straight block or you're going to get mute. Because the things that we're supposed to be focusing on, we're not focusing on. In fact, this young lady says it best. I want you to listen to this video, because when I heard this, I literally could just stand up and clap. Because I think a whole lot of Jamaicans, this speech here that was given by this young lady on TikTok, it hit the nail on the head. And it really is a reflective piece that I think a lot of Jamaicans, as I said, need to hear. So hold on. Let me share my screen once again. And I want you to focus on this video.
You can imagine that one day you get a call that your father's house was up in flames. You drive down there in a hurry to see like a crowd of people recording it. You're confused. You don't know what's going on. The crowd tells you, say your daddy up on the porch up.
Thank you, PLJ.
Like
Big up yourself.
See your daddy there up. There are
You're damn right, Debbie. Very true.
Insensitive, uneducated, illiterate, ignorant people in Jamaican society, and they are a danger to themselves and they are a danger to other people. And it's not even about the insensitive. I want you to imagine that one day you get a call that your father's house was up in flames. You drive down there in a hurry to see like a crowd of people recording it. You're confused. You don't know what's going on. The crowd tells you, say your daddy up on the porch up. Like in that way. See your daddy there up. There are too many insensitive, uneducated, illiterate, ignorant people in Jamaican society, and they are a danger to themselves and they are a danger to other people. And it's not even about the insensitivity of the whole situation. These are dumb people. These are stupid people. These are the mothers that will tell their daughters to go put on a brassiere because their baby daddy number 5 is coming over. These are the fathers who, if you ask them, daddy, when's my birthday? They don't know. The people who only care about politics, if the MP fix them road or give them a freezer for them shop. You get me? The uncles in the family say, oh, you have so much breast. Beat their sons for crying when they get hurt and call them pussies. We'll make fun of you for speaking standard English.
Yes.
And when you try to speak Patois to them say it sound funny, don't do it again.
Yeah,
This is Jamaica. I just saw them stay. Them people are just dark. They're raising children who are going to become just like them. And this is not our culture. This is not who Jamaicans are, because there are so many people out there that I also see criticizing this behavior. This is a consequence. This is a consequence of people being constantly taken advantage of, brainwashed, and put back in the same position by people who are supposed to be lifting them up. The less educated a population is, the less effort you have to put in to get them to vote for you. Constantly being taken advantage of because of their stupidity. There is a man.
You hear what she just said, the less educated a man is, the easier it is to get them to vote for you. I want you to understand that there is a whole political agenda behind not supporting you to make sure that your child is in school. There is a whole political agenda behind making sure that certain schools are too expensive for your child to access. No bursaries, no scholarships available on the basis of high achievement to go to the likes of Immaculate Prep and Stella Maris Prep, unless you have fulfilled certain criteria and you're posted to a certain postcode. There is a whole agenda behind keeping the masses uneducated. All right.
On the corner, dig out him hand me go right now. I tell him friend beside him to burn out Batman while that same friend is a pedophile. Let's talk about the fact that he has 3 kids that he got during his early 20s, late teens to early 20s, that he knows none of their birthdays. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. He barely knows their middle names. He didn't even know they had middle names. He wasn't there for the birth, but he signed the birth paper though, and is the father, and he's proud of his children. He's proud of his children that he's not taking care of. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that there is a woman that keeps having babies for him. And a company news, a big money. I hate you. I actually hate you. Like, I hate that. I hate you.
Lord Jesus, harsh but true. A real reality. And, as much as, okay, some of her comments were very extreme, I totally see where she's coming from. And, when she said the part about, the people who make fun of you because you speak standard English, and then they also tell you that you sound funny when you chat patois. Listen, how much of them they will buck up on social media, graduates? How much of them that we buck up on social media? Listen, I cannot. We really have got a group of people amongst us that no matter what we do, their mindsets will never change. And we can't really give up on our own. But sometimes graduates, I swear, I feel like give up on them. But all I can do is keep presenting you with facts, information, stuff to enlighten and raise your vibrations. So for those of you who are sat on my live, please make sure that you like it up. Missy 86 on watching, please to like up the live. That's all I ask over here. There is no Cash App, Zelle, and all them something they are paying for no bacchanal. This is about raising your vibrations, your knowledge, your understanding, and empowering you with information. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're going to move on now to our international segment. And when I saw this story, I was more than distressed, to be perfectly honest. I genuinely could not believe what I was witnessing. I could not believe what I was seeing. Okay. And so I'm going to share with you an article. I'm going to share with you an article because when I read this, when I heard about it first, I was like, no, sir, this real? Can a husband do something like this and think that he can get away with it? And when you think about misogynistic relationships, men out there who think they have a right to treat women a certain way, men out there who feel that because they are men in your lives, they can objectify you in any way they wish, purely because they are male, you have to really wonder what kind of animals are behind some of the partners that we take on as females. And the thing is that there are many times red flags that women choose to ignore. But in this case, it wasn't so straightforward. So let me just pull this up so that you can see it. And I have to be careful with the language that I use because you know how YouTube is funny. But I will do my best to try and put it in code wherever I possibly can. Give me a thumbs up if you can see this. I'm going to try my best to zoom in as much as possible. Okay. Right. So there is the title. There is a title. Monster of Avignon had a disciple who learned from him how to and grape his own wife and allowed his teacher to have relations with his unconscious partner multiple times. Mr. Pellicott and 51 other men. You hear what I say a while ago? 52 man did this to this lady over a period of 10 years. And another man has admitted to graping his own wife after learning from Pellicott. So they call him the Monster of Avignon, who recruited dozens of men to grape his unconscious wife after putting substances in her food and drink over a period of 10 years. He had a disciple who learned and copied his methods. Dominique Pellicott, 71, old man, is on trial in the French city of Avignon for repeatedly graping and encouraging others to also participate with his wife, whose name is Giselle, also age 71, in the southern village of Mazan. He faces 20 years in prison if found guilty. Of course, you know he'll die within that time. The court heard on Wednesday how another man on trial, named only as Jean-Pierre, who's 63, allegedly learned from Mr. Pellicott how to do the things then. So Mr. Pellicott teach him. The disciple is not among the 51 men, so he was grooming another man to do the same thing to his own wife. He's a former lorry driver, yes, who has claimed to have spoken to Mr. Pellicott in an online chat room, and that the chat room is called Against Her Knowledge. So them look on all this. All them old man and know them something. You have to find the kind of chat rooms online that will facilitate a discussion around how to subjugate females to this kind of treatment. Mr. Pellicott is then alleged to have provided sedatives to Jean-Pierre to put his wife under before traveling to grape her himself. The harrowing case continues to rock France, with the accused facing 20 years in jail if found guilty. The lengthy trial is expected to continue through to December. Here is the man himself, 71 years old. Okay? That's the man. Dominique Pellicott, accused of recruiting men online. Online, he recruited them. And this happened over a period of 10 years, his wife. This is his wife. But I must say, them look good for their age. For 71, she no look bad. I don't think so, right? She no look bad at all. So, how this man did this thing? He would put the substances in the food and drink, which would render her in a coma-like state. It wasn't even a light sleep or a deep sleep. It was literally akin to a coma, right? She would be placed in the fetal position, and the people who came to the house were not allowed to move the wife. He would record the incidents. He would record them and he kept it on his computer under a file titled ABUSE. This is what this junker man do. This is what this man do. So he would get the men to come to the house. They were only allowed to take off their clothing in the kitchen, not in the bedroom, for fear that they may leave something behind. So in the kitchen, they were able to undress. Then he would take them into the bedroom where he would watch and record while these men had their way with his wife, and she had to be kept in the fetal position. They weren't allowed to move her. So yes, they could go behind her, they could go in front of her, on the side, but then can't turn her over. And he did this repeatedly. And he recorded it. And he kept the recordings. Not only did he violate his wife, but they had a daughter. And this monster also did it to his daughter on multiple occasions. She too was on his computer. His daughter was in her 20s. Now, when I tell you that there are some wicked human beings amongst us, I am not kidding. Just to have the mindset to do something like that to one's own wife is crazy to me. Let me see some of the comments. She never felt bruised and mashed up. Apparently not. That is why women should not worship any group of men. All groups of men have a history of practicing misogyny. He is a sadist. I completely agree, Rich. I completely agree. Mighty God of Daniel, what monsters you allow to roam this world. This is what I don't understand, Titanium. Honestly, sometimes when I hear about these things and I think to myself, then these demons amongst us are allowed to walk the earth. Yes? And I want you to understand that there are genuinely amongst us men that hate women, and will do these things if given the opportunity, and worse. And worse. And this is why I do not understand how it is that females can facilitate men that blatantly say that they hate you. It really is sad and pathetic. But this woman had no clue. And it's only because her husband was caught upskirting women in a shopping center. Do you know what upskirting is? He basically had, I don't know, like a mirror or something on his shoe. And he's walking through the environs, and he's trying to basically look under the skirts of females. And he was caught by the police, and that led to a whole investigation for them to then go to his house and go through his computer. And that's how it was discovered. Because his perverseness extended beyond his wife. And that's how he was found. Do you understand? Sometimes we have to see the persons that we're with for who they are. Because I cannot imagine that she could not have figured out that he was a dirty bird from the time that she was with him. There must have been something that she chose to ignore. You understand me? Now, this Jamaican lady tells us about the dangers of ignoring those red flags. When you have situations where you keep repeatedly going back to circumstances of abuse and expecting a different outcome, it's quite foolish. So I want you to take a look at this video and hear for yourself exactly what ended up happening as a result of her ignoring the red flags.
He slapped me on my head back, he slapped me upon my hand. And he go again, I will grab the knife and say, stop. Just once, some of us stop.
And the knife sticking in my chest. One go. You don't want him to stay so. You just not a star.
Yes, social spectator, true.
Not knowing that one go. We don't ask for me of father life. We don't willfully read. You know you breathe and you come make money for that show the belly. That is the life in your.
So you hear what happened? So Kasha was in an abusive relationship for years, 4 years. And she kept getting all of the beating, all of the assault, all of the attacks. And the one time she retaliated out of self-defense, he lost his life. So that is one part of that law where she expressed that. But she did carry on telling the rest of the story. And in telling the rest of the story, she spoke about the fact that, listen, there was another friend that she had who basically lost her ability to have children as a result of staying with a man who repeatedly put their hands on her, to the point where he ruptured her womb. And that was it for her ability to have children, just because she chose to stay. You understand? Now, who remembers this young lady here?
Tanya, big up yourself.
Who remembers her? Do you remember this lady? Do you remember this lady? This is the lady. She had come out and she was begging one whole heap of money and she had beg help and all sorts of things. Her boyfriend, it was all in the papers and everything, had chopped her whole head did chop open like one coconut. You see that line down her face? That was from a machete. You hear me? And they thought that she was not going to leave this girl. Listen to what she has to say.
Baby, and never let your basket run dry, honey. Pick up yourself for passing through. You understand? No flop, mama. You understand? But people say, oh, the girl dead. The girl dead. The girl now come back out. Look how the man do the girl. The girl if it dead because, yeah man, anytime, baby. The girl if it dead because I'm money upon him, man. That's why man do him, so no man not gonna want girls unless I'm money up. But it took time out to look at my side and say, okay, maybe the man just do our thing because none of them didn't know say me did be that click for him, man. None of them because the man all disrespect me in front of crowd. The man all a fling big stone at him in front of crowd. Me I feel take up my look up in him and chatter. You understand, Trudy? Alright, baby, later. Later me talk to you. You can call me or me call you, anyone. You understand? So when you come and talk about your two side to a story, ask yourself if that makes sense when I say, because I come and me talk my story, me talk my part. You understand? Me talk my part truthfully, and I did not left out anything. And if I give on, me that come and me that say, you know, say me that give the man but no sign chat me up. I've been I would have said that.
Be easy. No, she didn't.
That was text. Look here. Me could even have phone when me there with the man. The man know I have a phone. If I have a phone, him take it. I be like the hide and I use one phone. So
Number one sign of an abusive man is controlling attitudes. If you have got a partner that is stopping you from communicating, is vetting your friendships, his ultimate goal is to isolate you. That way you have absolutely no support system, and therefore when you want to do the things them to you, you don't have nobody to run to.
my sister have to call whoever me want to call, like my friend or my mother, whoever. If me even go my mother yard, the man say, oh, if you do you cook up your mama yard like you're hungry, like you're not getting off in yam. Sometimes I'm not getting off in yam in yard. Sometimes I did I mean hours me picking him did hungry. And I said to the man, say, I'm hungry. Man say, oh yeah, tell me that for tell your people them. And my sister did my mother before she left because Saint Elizabeth where her baby father is. And my sister cook every day. And my sister did in a better position because she was getting assistance from her boyfriend and she have a couple of friends. So she did get assistance. I wasn't getting any. We never have nobody. We don't back it if you say, yo, can give me a little change. Can this, can I have nobody. Until this day, I have nobody who's going to do that. But my mama.
But my nice clean mother
Yep.
who tries to help whenever she can. My mother help when he can. My mother will give me a little loss and I have nothing for my mother that. And my mother that. My mother will have a loss and do without. My mother will take my kids them sometimes and say, hey, let me give you a break. Because sometimes I have headache and bearable headache because I can't manage. And my mother would say, all right, let me give you a little help in with the picnic them. So when you come up, pick up mommy right through all way every day. Pick up mommy a strong woman. Mommy raised me all by herself. She raised her 5 people without her daddy. And my mother never did a loan for a man to man, a big man say, yo, do this for me. My mother do it herself. My mother work, clean, dirty toilet. My mother do everything. You understand? My mother clean, dirty bathroom. My mother do this, my mother do that. Just to ensure so gas spoon and we get food to eat on the table. So how me fi hate my mother? How? I put my head on the block, make it chop off for my mother. Me not ask. Me would do that. You understand? And I see me I go try fi hustle for me picking. That's why me I try to build up the little shop. So me chicken them can if instead of go give people when I want to give me my money so me can get back my chicken them in my pen and me can get for the little things, I rather struggle to build up a little shop than trust them out. And me say the chicken them are 3 weeks already, they have 3 weeks left. I know say chicken takes 6 weeks for ready. Then by the time more anybody who can link me up and even buy 1 bag of cement, anybody who can, even if I 2 pounds in a day, yeah, even if I 2 pounds in a day, 1 pound in a day, still a money. Every make a muckle. And that me believe, you know. We don't feel greedy, we don't feel ready, we don't feel hasty, we have patience. Patience, easy does it. When you run down sitting, it don't happen. But when you take a little time and have patience and believe, it happens. You understand? And me say, me do this for my people, me not busy about myself. So who can link me and say we can buy one piece? We need about 5 ply.
So if anybody wants to help, her username, I've put it on the screen. It's Chosen Child. Now, I would not have said to people go and help her before, because let me tell you something. One of the things that Chosen Child chose to do, which I wasn't happy about, after she came out with her story first, a lot of people were trying to help her. Then she started come up on TikTok and appear sexy whining and battage out a door and pum pum print out and all them something there. And I was like, really? You understand? It was attracting the wrong audience and the wrong attention. But I think she realized that that was not going to work. And now she's trying to do something for herself, and she's putting the TikTok money towards it as well. So, let me tell you something. Without being judgmental, I know that a lot of people are going to bring up the fact that she didn't press charges and stuff like that. I need you guys to understand something. That somebody that is involved with a violent person, there is always an underlying fear of what can possibly happen. And often these people who are violent in nature come from violent backgrounds. And it doesn't take much for them to reach out to say, listen, anger that for me because she sent me to jail. I think you need to understand that the dynamics of certain people's household is not the same as yours. And that while we might be saying, lock up in blouse and skirt, ray, a lot of the times why these women don't do these things and would rather just go miles and miles away from the person, go live somewhere else, move country, whatever, is because of the potential risk to life, right? It is because of that. So let's take a look. Big up to the supportive mothers. Abuse victims are full of anxiety. And I know it's really easy for people to be harsh with victims. And one of the things we mustn't do is victim blame, right? Because straight away she started the story by talking about how people looked at her and said, well, hang on a minute. I must burn your gift. Why the man do you so? You must have deserved it. That's victim blaming. because a lot of the times these men are quite charming, they're quite liked in their community. They would be like, no, sir, I bet you any money that he was a favorite. But sometimes you see these charming ones, hey, and them you must be aware of, right? Them you must be aware of, because they really know how to turn on that charm and melt you and make you feel like, say, boy, me we go back, me forgive him. You understand? All those women. I posted a video on my YouTube shorts. I don't know if it was done for likes or if it was a joke, graduates. With this woman, I said that she no want no lovey-dovey relationship. That the relationship have to have like a fight tonight, like a aggression tonight. The man supposed to argue, or Bono not supposed to argue. And I'm just looking at her and thinking to myself, what an empty-headed mess. Because if she dead serious, she's really sick. And it is sometimes the things that they see perpetrated around them as atypical relationships. And because they see the highs as well as the lows, they're thinking that, oh, they fight and then them agree back. They might hear the bed are broke down a nighttime after the fighting idea. And I said, whoa, I want one like that. I want somebody will anger me like that. And then it creates a link. There is an automatic link between the violence and the intimacy. So in their head, it is part and parcel of the same thing. And it is so dangerous to create that connection between intimacy and violence, right? But because this is what is seen by a lot of our little girls as they're growing up. As they grow into women, they begin to desire it, to trauma bond. Because what would have been considered scary becomes a joke, because you will hear the women around you laugh and say, hear them wrong there, go on with them something after them did a fight earlier. And they think that's a seal of approval. There are many things that are wrong with us in our society, so many things that we need to work on, but awareness is first. As I said, pay attention to the red flags. A man who wants to control your communication, a man who questions everywhere you're going and wanting to know who you're going with, and then gets upset if they think that you are going out too often, even if you're going out with females. I'm not talking about if you go out with men, because man will get jealous, right? And territorial in certain ways. But I'm talking about if you're going out with female friends and your partner is questioning you and making you feel guilty for going out with your female friends and leaving him behind, you've got a problem. I'm talking about men who will hide your mobile phone. You've got a problem. I'm talking about men who will get angry if a relative comes by to visit, especially if it's a male relative who can potentially challenge him. He will seek to isolate you from. You have a problem. And that's where it starts. It starts with these subtle and simple things. And then it escalates into something far more sinister and potentially fatal. Yes, they are. So yes, I just wanted to say to my graduates, thank you very much for participating in A Touch of Class with Head Teacher K. I hope you have learned something, have taken in the information. I always enjoy going through social stories. It's now basically my new thing on this platform. I will always refer to some real life happenings to pull out a point, because at the end of the day, I often find that the voice of the masses are either caught up in the gossip element of it and not the serious things that are truly affecting their day-to-day lives. And it is time that we allow those stories to be told and we pull those life lessons from it, right? There's so much more to us than the nonsense that I see on social media on a day-to-day basis, and so many things that need repairing and fixing. And it's important that we bring those topics to the fore and discuss it without judgment. All right. Big up on the nice clean stuff. Make sure that you like up the live on your way out. Thank you so much, PLJ Happy. I appreciate your wonderful comments. You love the new direction. Yes, man, right this so. And we're not going back, because this is exactly what we want to do now on this platform. We want nothing but raised vibrations, knowledge, thinking, critical skills engaged, and advice that will take you through life. All right? Big up yourself. Have a wonderful evening. This is your girl, Teacher K. Bye-bye.